What's up, guys and girls? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to ruffle some feathers. We're going to talk about graded guards and why honestly these are kind of the dumbest thing I think that we have currently in the TCG space. I mean, basically it's just a piece of plastic on another piece of plastic, but I'm going to dive into that today, just explain my thoughts and opinions on this sort of not topic, but just why I feel this way about graded guards. Also, if you're new here, be sure to like and subscribe. Helps me out a ton. We're so close to 100 subscribers. I'm going to be doing a giveaway at 100, so if you could subscribe, help me out a ton. But let's hop right into the video. So the first point I wanted to make today is about how PSA and BGS and Beckett, everyone already protects the card. That is what this plastic container is for. They are already protected. Now, I don't know how everyone handles their slabs and what they do with them all the time, but as you can see here, I'm like moving my slab around, I'm touching it, like it's not gonna break. This is a pretty solid plastic. It's not bending, it's not breaking. I'm holding it pretty tight. I have no worry in the world that this is gonna break. I could drop it, throw it on the floor. It's not gonna bend, it's not gonna break. I'm not worried whatsoever about that. So putting another piece of plastic on this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's like putting your phone, wrapping it in a case, and then putting another case on top of that case. When you think of it like that, you realize how ridiculous putting a graded guard on a PSA slab or any other slab in general just kind of sounds. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense why you do it. I mean, I get why some people might want to for aesthetic reasons, but overall, just like for the protection reason, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do. It's just a little ridiculous, a little over the top. These things don't break very easily unless you're like specifically going your way to try and like break it in half or do some sort of damage to it. So next thing I want to talk about is like the added cost. A grid guard isn't free. Now obviously you can get some cheap knockoff ones. You can 3D print your own for relatively cheap. Like I'm talking $2 or $3. But a graded guard is like what, $15, $20? And that's if you're not getting the exclusive ones that are suddenly $300, $400 that suddenly have overpay to them because why? They were a limited edition drop or something like that. Why do I care? It's a guard that goes on this slab. I really could care less. I can go 3D print something for the same basis. Like it will look the exact same. So basically you're paying extra to put something on your slab in which most people, if you go to sell, won't care. You've probably all seen that video of the guy being like, oh, it's $2,000. And he's like, well, actually, this one's $2,300 because the $300 guard. And the guy's like, but we just agreed to $2,000. He's like, yeah, the guard's not a part of it. That's like a $300 rare guard. And it's like, the dude didn't care. He was like, bro, what? Like, I thought we agreed. Like, it doesn't add any value. Like, they were arguing over basically nothing. Like, it costs pennies to make these sorts of things. And they add no value. People don't really care about them. You honestly look really, really crazy whenever you're like, well, that's $300. I have to take that off the card. And you're like, what? Then why are you selling it with the gray? Like, why are you? They just look ridiculous. And in that context, they don't really add any value to your cards. And I just talked about a little bit ago how they don't even really protect it. And that's true. Like I've said that if you have one of those graded guards around your slab, it doesn't really protect it at all. Like it's just on the casing. But how often, if these actually do break, is it on the outer edges that they get broken? Like most of the time, if this is gonna break, it's with something, heavy being dropped on it or being, hit against the wall, like to where it's actually gonna crack the case itself and not the card. Like it's gonna break, and the graded guard wouldn't protect against that anyway. Water damage might get into here. Maybe you're lifting weights and you actually drop a weight on it. It's crazy, but like even those crazy scenarios, a graded guard wouldn't protect it. It wouldn't be the extra protection that you seem to think it is. So adding it is just kind of a false sense of security in that sense that it doesn't actually protect anything. It doesn't actually add security to it. It doesn't protect your card more so than it already was protected by the PSA case. And honestly, the biggest thing with graded guards is honestly just that they are marketing. It's just all perception based. People have created an artificial scarcity for these random guards to make people have to go out and rush out to buy them and try and flip them and sell them and quick flip, do all this sorts of stuff just to make a couple extra bucks, when in reality they're not even really worth anything. Like I said, you can go make your own for pennies on the dollar. You can go buy the cheap brand ones for like $3. I think Safari Zone, shout out Safari Zone, I guess, but I know they have like guards on there for like $3 for any color, which to me is, if you're gonna protect your card, why not just get that? Like if that's the sole reason you want it. But I think everyone knows the reason you actually have a graded guard on is because they're worth money. Even though in reality they're not really worth anything, because who actually cares about that? I'm sure you have people that are like, oh, I care because it is worth money, so now I care. But like overall, they're the most ridiculous thing you'll see in the space because nobody cares about that. Like nobody cares my card has a graded guard on. Sure, it might look cooler, I guess, but overall I like the card inside, not the outermost sphere. Like if I'm gonna go grade for aesthetic, I would go to like Ace or something like that, where they add more to it, or maybe put it in a slab, like a display. Those are sorts of like cool, unique things to display your cards. But instead of graded cards, just a protective layer around the card. And they're absolutely ridiculous in that sense. And it's just overall marketing that a lot of people have fallen for. But at the end of the day, this is all marketing, all a gimmick. It's just a way to sell more product for things that you don't ultimately need. And it worked for a lot of people. A lot of people suddenly care about graded guards and want specific ones and care about the rare exclusive ones. When in reality, nobody cares about this sort of stuff. If you actually want to protect your cards, just store them correctly, display them correctly. Don't be throwing them around everywhere. Like, how often do your slabs actually break? Have you ever broken a slab? Like, in reality, I don't think I've ever broken a slab. I store these, pretty conventionally. I don't do anything about them. I even, as you can see, I'm holding this for the entire duration of the video. I'm not worried it's going to break. So ultimately, I think these graded guard slabs are just, kind of ridiculous. I don't think they're actually needed in this space. I think if you're super invested heavily into exclusive ones, or if you're upset, I think they reprinted one of them not too long ago. If you're upset that they're reprinting a super exclusive graded guard, I think you're upset at nothing. Like, these are ultimately just a marketing stunt that have seemingly gone viral. A lot of people suddenly care about it. But in the meantime, these nobody matters, or none of these matter. Like, these things are ultimately meaningless in the TCG space. I don't think people in 5 years will really care about a graded guard in the slightest. I think they'll just be kind of one-off year things that people in the now are like, oh, I need these, they're super cool. And I don't think they'll have any staying power. But, that's just my opinion. Let me know yours. Like I said earlier, if you could like and subscribe, help me out a ton. We're so close to 100. Join the Discord, links in the description. Would love to meet some of y'all. But other than that, I think that's going to be it for me today. Appreciate you watching all the way through. Take care.